So, as international students at Conestoga make the transition to Canada, scams run rampant among housing and rental scenes. Conestoga itself has acknowledged the increase in scams aimed at international students who are unable or unaccustomed to recognizing fraud. There are many organizations and programs doing extensive work to limit these scams and give international students the best shot possible at being successful in Canada. One of the many programs that's doing this work is the Canada Homestay Network. The CHN is a family run nonprofit society which helps international students find a home in Canada. Since its inception in 1995, it has successfully helped tens of thousands of students find the housing situation they need to thrive in Canada. Here with us today from the CHN is Jen Appiah, Relationship Manager for the KW branch of Homestay. Good morning, Jen, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
No problem. Good morning.
Morning, Jen. Thank you again so much, as Audra said. I was just wondering, first off, if you could explain briefly what the Canadian Homestay Network is and kind of the work that they do in the Kitchener-Waterloo community.
Sure. So Canada Homestay Network helps to bring in international students, but also just students in and around Canada into different areas and helps them get into the schools and also assists with housing so that they don't have to necessarily worry about finding those things.
Yeah,
So in Kitchener, we'll in all areas, we'll make sure that we have hosts that are available to them.
awesome. Thank you. So you are the relationship manager or like the homestay coordinator. Could you speak to your role with homestay and more so the work that you do like as an individual, especially during the beginning of the school year?
Sure. So I am the relationship manager in the KW and Guelph region, and my role is to assist all students in once they've applied for homestay. I will assist them in finding the right fit of a host for them in the area, and try to ensure that we kind of find a host that is less than 45 minutes away from the school or the location of like the campus that they're going to be at. And essentially from there I will make sure that they have flights booked, if they need airport transportation. So there's a group of us that will kind of take on all of those roles, and I will communicate back and forth with the student. In your area we have a lot of independent students, as opposed to students that have an agent that will kind of do all of their booking. So I will communicate typically with most students to see how things are going, to check in with them. Usually at the beginning of their stay, I'll do a lot of check-ins, and then as they progress, just like as needed, if they can reach out to me and I can reach out to them as they need.
Great, cool. Uh, so in regards to the international students or independent students and homestays founding, what are some of the most common scams or challenges that you see in the housing market, especially maybe since COVID, if you could speak to that?
Um, I mean, I think a lot of it is they get taken advantage of in terms of cost. For if they'll think that homestay maybe is expensive, because it can be. I mean, obviously as a student, things are not cheap, and working is tricky. So I think a lot of it is, they'll find a place that they can go and stay, and instead of homestay, and it looks cheaper but it ends up not being cheaper. And I think some people are taking advantage of them in that frame. So we've seen a lot of scams like that, where we can try to help the students as best we can, but unfortunately, when you see it's cheaper as opposed to from maybe $1,000 to $700, they automatically think that that's great. However, they don't realize all of the added things that are being tacked on, and those are things that are told to them after the fact. So we see a lot of the students being taken advantage of in that way.
Yeah, you mentioned working as well. Do you support independent students or any of the students in finding work, or is that not something that?
We don't typically take that role on. If a student has questions, I can absolutely help them to find the best resources, in looking for that in their area. However, a lot of our students don't always have time to work. They're doing like their internships, like all of those types of things. So there might be the odd student that can find a job, but truthfully, like they do they do have a lot of workload. So you've got the one off that will work, and you've got many that don't work, just for various reasons.
Great. I'm
Yeah.
gonna the questions. Great.
Yeah, for sure. Jen, when speaking about international students and kind of those scams that happen, can you speak to more your professional judgment as to why international students are more susceptible to being taken advantage of opposed to domestic students?
I think they don't understand. I think when they come here, they're so keen and they're so excited, and they don't realize that there are scams out there, or that people are willing to take advantage of them. And for them, the language barrier is there, and the cultures are very different, and so they're just trying to do what they think is best, and it doesn't always pan out. I mean, as for us, like we get scammed many times. Like we've got elderly that get scammed on a regular basis. So having an international student who's not used to our culture and our area, and and people that just are willing to kind of take a student for a ride is not uncommon, and it's something that all we can do is kind of assist them in understanding the difference between somebody who means well and somebody who's trying to scam them.
100%. And just speaking more to like the flexibility it takes to adjust to these scams, how do you adjust and how do you pivot once you figure out that, oh, like we are being scammed and we do need to make a change?
I mean, on my end, the one thing that I can do is I'll have a meeting with a student. I will talk to them about how what happened, how this all started, and how we can kind of rectify the situation to assist them to either make stronger choices or reach out to somebody prior to moving forward with a potential scam, because knowledge is key, right? So if they don't have that knowledge, then they're not able to make a decision. So for us, like the best thing that I can do is have lots of conversations with them. I try to do a pre-arrival with my students, and in those pre-arrivals, we try to talk to them about making sure you talk to us before you do anything in the such. Like we've had students that have taken the wrong flights because they've someone has given them wrong information, and instead of moving forward with that, talk to us so that we can help you be better prepared for those types of situations.
100%. And one last question. Speaking to homestay, why do you think that your program and your network stands out amongst all the other groups that are trying to help students navigate in Canada?
I mean, for me, I work very hard to ensure that my students feel safe and secure. I like to reach out to them regularly, whether that's through email or if we need to, go to Tim Hortons and have a coffee. I like to make sure that my students feel that we're here for them no matter what the situation is. They want to stay, they want to leave the homestay program, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I work very hard to ensure that our students have support. And I don't know about other programs, but for me, if this was my kid, would want to ensure that they have the support that's needed in another country where they are potentially alone and don't have that same support system that they had back home.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I think that is all the time that we do have today, Jen. But thank you so, so much for speaking with us. Coming from someone that did do a study abroad in another country, I wish I had this program over there because it was the most stressful experience of my life. But I'm really glad to see that there is something in even like Kitchener-Waterloo that is doing this work. So congratulations to you guys. Hats off. That's just fantastic.
Absolutely. No problem. Thanks, guys. I'm happy to help anytime.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Recording stopped.
Awesome. Okay, we got the recorded. Everything's
Nice.
good. Yeah.